everybody. Welcome back to
Hey guys,
with Hailey and Brie.
Here we are.
Here we are. Hailey, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Scale 1 to 10?
Scale of 1 to 10. I think I'm at a 7.
7?
7.
7.5 for me.
Hmm.
Getting up there, man.
Why 0.5 more than me?
Because I'm just trying to be better than you all the time.
Well, you're here, so I'm just kidding.
not an 8 because I just got my nails done and they already chipped.
Oh, that sucks. I hate when that happens.
I hate when that happens. Hailey, we have a special segment for today.
Ah,
A few weeks ago, actually a lot of weeks ago, by the time this comes out,
That's true.
we did was it a Q&A or no, it was, I don't even know what we were talking about, but
I'm not
somehow
sure.
Dr. Pepsi, nope,
Dr. Pepsi!
Dr. Pepper, Pepsi and Coca-Cola came into the talking subject.
Okay.
And I said that there's no difference between Coke and Pepsi. I hold to that. But
There's a clear difference.
I've been yelled at a couple times from this. Once from Greg, once from you, once from my brothers. So we're going to see if you and I can tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi. And then because I love you and I know that you love Dr. Pepper, I also brought Dr. Pepper to figure this out.
I'm excited.
So we'll do some cuts so this doesn't take 15 minutes. But
Okay.
we're going to see if you can tell. So you're going to close your eyes.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
And I'm going to pour. Can you hear the crack?
Oh.
Whoa.
ASMR.
Okay, can you tell which one that was just by it opening?
By that crack?
Yeah. Okay, now this one.
I don't think I can.
What was that?
Oh, I don't know, man.
They definitely smell different, I will say
Oh,
that.
yeah, they definitely do smell different. Let me hear the third crack.
The last two sounded very similar.
I want to say the last one was Dr. Pepper. The first one was Coke and the second one was Pepsi.
How do you know?
Stop.
That's ridiculous.
Stop.
That's so stupid. How much do you drink? Holy.
I got it right.
Yes.
I did not think I was going to get that
That's
right.
ridiculous. Oh, how am I going to mark
That's
these?
terrible. Now I seem like an addict.
Okay. This is the order, everybody. This is the first one. Okay.
So scared. Okay. First one,
Uh-huh.
that's Pepsi.
Okay.
Right, right? I think that's Pepsi.
Okay. So you have to taste them all, and then I'll tell you if you're right or not.
Okay. Am I allowed to change if I...
Sure.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Is it hard to tell the difference?
No, I'm just... Maybe that's... No. Maybe I know. I'm going to stick. I think that's Coke.
Okay.
Well, I know this is Dr. Pepper. Okay.
Are you sticking with it?
Can I taste 1 and 2 again?
Yeah. This is 1.
Okay.
Oh man. And this is 2.
Okay.
No, that's it. That's all you get.
Bro. I know my first instinct, I thought it was Pepsi, but now I'm second guessing it. Now I think... Okay. I think the first one in the mug was Coke. The second one was Pepsi, and the third one was Dr. Pepper.
You got it right.
Oh, yay!
But you got it wrong the first time.
I
so.
know, but good thank God.
Okay,
I
but can you just
second-backed.
admit that from how hard that was, they do taste similar?
They do taste similar, but I had to do, yeah,
Okay,
I
my
guess
turn.
kind of similar.
I bet you I could not tell the difference.
Okay. This is the new order.
Oh, okay, you're showing that.
All right. Gonna hand you a beverage, you know.
This is the first one.
This is the first one.
My first guess is Coke.
Okay.
I was going to say that's Dr. Pepper, but that tastes literally the same as what I just had. I think that's Pepsi.
Okay, and then here's the last one. I'm sorry.
I think that's Dr. Pepper. But if I'm being honest, they all taste the same. But I'm going to go Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper.
I'm so sorry.
I got it
It
wrong.
was Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper.
Dang. I mean, yeah. But
Do you need to taste these two side by side? Because I feel like that's what helped
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
The smell too.
Yeah. What are the flavors of Coke?
I don't know. I don't think they're as distinguished as like the Dr. Pepper flavors.
Those taste exactly the same.
No, they do.
Yes, they do.
If you are
they
a
smell
true
a little.
soda drinker, you'd know.
They look identical. Although, okay, the Coke is a little darker, but I don't know if that's just Ew. Ew. Ugh, I hate Coke. I don't like Coke or Pepsi.
I like Coke better than Pepsi.
I think I like Pepsi better. It's sweeter.
Okay.
Is it sweeter? How much sugar is in Pepsi?
I feel like Coke is sweeter.
No, Pepsi has 69 grams of sugar. Coke
Oh.
has 65. I called it. I can taste my sugar.
Apparently you can.
Mm.
Well, I guess we'll watch out now.
I'm going to be on a sugar high during this episode.
Yeah, you are.
Hailey, tell them what this episode's about.
Okay, so this episode is about
Your mom.
your mom. That was
Get it.
rude. My mom is
But
going
it
to be
is.
upset. It's about family, but more specifically on just like how you grow up and your family dynamics. So Brie grew up, her parents are married, so she grew up with her parents being together.
Yes.
And then I grew up with my biological parents not being together, and then my mom being remarried in a way. She was never married in the first place, but like getting married.
Right. To someone else.
To somebody else who I call dad. So we just wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, because I think it's really interesting how. I think I say that It's really interesting.
A lot of the stuff we talk about is very interesting.
But Hailey and I are very similar people. I feel like yes, we have our differences in like maybe how we react to things or how our perspective. I don't know. We definitely have differences.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're very similar. And I think that's a big reason of why we get along, why we have a podcast together. Like, we're very similar people in a way. But we had different family dynamics.
Yeah.
But
But
there's a fun fact that we just put this together like yesterday. You have a Kevin in your immediate family?
I do. My dad's
Your
name
dad's
is Kevin.
name is Kevin. My brother's name is Kevin.
You do. And we
You're-
both have a brother
And we
named
both have
Nathan.
a brother named Nathan. Do you call your brother Nate, though? Because I almost never call Nathan Nathan.
No, I don't really. No. I'm trying to think. My brother's name is Nathan. I enjoy calling him Nathaniel.
He hates it.
My
hates
brother
it.
absolutely despises it. He's like,
Yeah.
that's not my name, but I'm like, no, Nathaniel. I call
I
him
don't know why they
Nathaniel.
hate it.
Maybe sometimes I guess I call him Nate,
Yeah.
but not usually. Usually it's Nathaniel.
Yeah. Nathaniel. Yeah, my brother hates that, and I would get in trouble.
Is his name Nathan or Nathaniel?
It's Nathan.
Okay.
Yeah. They hate Nathaniel for some reason. Sorry to
Yeah.
all the Nathaniels out there, I guess.
Yeah, apparently
Just a snobby
Nathans
name or
don't
something.
like. Yeah, Nathan thinks they're better than
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Man.
These Nathans.
Anyways, but we have like similar family dynamics a little bit, but then growing up, we had very different focuses of our family, I think, because of your relationship with your biological dad and
Yeah.
my relationship with my parents. Sorry, the soda's making me burpy, man. That's gross. And then also we're both oldest daughters.
We are
like
the
oldest
daughters.
child, and
Yeah.
we're both daughters.
Our moms both had us at the same age.
Yeah, pretty much.
We figured that out. 22.
22. Yeah. That's wild.
So wild.
That sometimes I compare my life to my mom's life. Not that it means like I'm doing any worse.
No,
or
yeah,
better,
but it is interesting.
But like when I turned 22, I was like, Mom, if I were you, I would have been pregnant, or I would have just given birth. And then when I turned 24, so I think my mom had Chris when she was like between 24 and 25, I think. And so I
Okay.
was like, Mom, if I was you, I would have had 2 kids by now. So.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny, but I can't imagine myself having
No.
I don't think I'm mature enough to have 2 kids right now. Like
I cannot imagine myself
do
having
it.
a kid. Yeah.
I could do it.
I could do it. Yeah, if I, if it had to be done, then I could do it. But
Yeah.
definitely not my first choice right now.
No. But I think that had a big impact on who we are.
Yeah.
So we kind of want to talk about what that was like growing up, and then how that shaped us now, and then what role that plays in our life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. What was the hardest thing about that family dynamic, like with your dad?
Man, the hardest thing about that family dynamic, I think having to like be away from my mom and my siblings was really hard. Just because, I mean, I thought we were pretty close. Like my mom, I've shared previously, my mom and my dad, my stepdad, but I refer to him as my dad, Kevin, he and my mom got married like a year, I don't know. I think I was 2 when they got married. And they had my brother and my sister, and we were like a pretty close, tight-knit family when I was, younger. Still now we're relatively close, with 3 adult kids in the family, and everybody has jobs and school. But I felt like it was hard it's only, I'm the only kid from my mom and my biological dad's relationship.
Right.
And on that side of the family I didn't have, I had like 2 cousins, but they lived up in Crestline. And so I never got to see them, only on like holidays, but I think they're 24 or 25. So they're a couple years older than me. But I was 14 when my uncle had his daughter.
Yeah.
So I just went over there and like, I just didn't like have anything really to do. Mm-hmm. So I like wished I was home a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like growing up, my dad's side of the family, I feel like spoiled me a lot because I was the
Your biological dad?
Yeah, because I was the only grandkid for a long time.
Yeah.
And so like whatever I wanted, I got. And that sounds terrible, but like I'm obviously way humble now. Like, I wasn't a bad kid, but I don't feel like I was rude when I was younger. But I think that was their way of like making or like expressing their love. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a love language.
Yeah. So it was very interesting.
Because you kind of mentioned like you don't feel like that had but do you think you're overly sensitive or like overly like, I need to be humble because I don't want to like come off as spoiled? Like, were you aware that you were spoiled when you were a kid?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think for a little bit, I just thought my life was normal. Like, I remember like going to elementary school, and I remember like being like, oh, you and your mom have the same last name? Like, that's, you and your parents are together? Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, for me, like, I just thought that, like, my life was normal, only seeing my biological dad once a week for 8 hours a day. Like, I thought that was a normal occurrence.
Yeah. It is for a lot of people.
Yeah, and my siblings were so young at the time where they didn't even, like, realize, I don't think, until they started getting, like, a little bit older, like kindergarten, first grade, they started to be like, oh, where's Hailey? Mm-hmm. Oh, Hailey's with her dad. And then like, it was this weird, like, oh, but I thought we have the same dad. It was like very strange and probably like really confusing for them if they even remember it.
Yeah.
But it was like very, very difficult. I don't know. Very strange.
Yeah. Because you're like half siblings.
They're technically my half siblings,
but they didn't feel like it because they were born when you were super young.
Yeah.
And they remember you since they were.
Yeah, biologically they're my half siblings, but they're my full siblings.
Yeah,
through and through.
How was your guys' relationship growing up?
Me and Ashley, I feel like we're closer growing up than me and Nathan, just because of our age difference. Sure. Me and Nathan's 18, and I'm 23, so that's 4.
5.
No, 5?
5, sorry.
I can't count.
do
I said 6. You said 4.
It's
None,
5.
none
It's
of us
5.
are on the money.
No.
Yeah, and he's the only boy, so I felt like me and Ashley got along better when we were younger. Nathan at some point, and he might be watching, but he's gotten way better now, so don't judge Nathan here. But Nathan used to be so rude to me growing up, and that really like made me so sad. Like,
Yeah.
and it's terrible because he's 5 years younger than me, but this kid knew how to be rude. Like, he would literally, he's better now. Don't get me wrong. And my parents are probably shaking their heads like, why are you saying this on air?
It's okay, Nathan. We love you.
We love you, Nathan. I know you don't mean it. But he would literally be like, oh, like he would get really mad at me sometimes. He was like, oh, well, you know what? Your dad sucks. And our dad's, like, you don't have a dad. Or like stuff like that. And I'd be like, bro, that is so hard.
That's awful.
But I mean, like, I don't know. So we didn't get along very well when we were younger. Me and Ashley like bicker and fight to this day.
All sisters do.
Yeah. So, but I think we're definitely closer now than we were when we were younger.
Yeah.
I feel like it was either me or Ashley getting along or Ashley and Nathan.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a hard time with me and Nathan getting along when we were younger. I feel like now it's way better because we're grown. But yeah, very interesting.
It's so interesting. Like, talking about siblings too, I wonder. I do see it because I think that there's such a difference growing up with, not a big difference, but there is it does affect like you as a person, like growing up with all brothers versus growing up as an older child versus growing up with all sisters.
Yeah.
Versus like a mix.
Because you're the only girl in your family. So how was it growing up with 3 brothers?
It was so fun.
Was it?
Because I was the princess.
Oh, I see.
I still am the princess. Just kidding. That sounds spoiled, but in that way, I was spoiled. I was the only one who has always had my own room. All the boys have at some point had to share a room. I don't have to do any hand-me-downs really because I'm the oldest and I'm a girl.
Yeah, all the new clothes.
But in another way, because I was the oldest, I was the guinea pig. So like, wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob. Brothers were.
That's
like
sad.
Stuff like that. Like where they definitely were more strict with me in some ways, but when I see them now, or like when I would go back and be like, oh, you guys have a lock on your phone or like something, and I would be like, I'm probably the reason why you guys have locks on your phones, like, because I just had no regard for like, and I think that's another thing too, like growing up in the time we did, when technology was so new and like the effects really hadn't come out, like we knew social media wasn't going to be the greatest thing ever, but yeah, it was interesting being the guinea pig, being the princess, being the only girl, because there is like an element, I think I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I was definitely spoiled as a kid, but not to the degree of like, I don't know, being a brat, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think I was a brat.
I don't think so either.
Hopefully I wasn't a brat, but...
I didn't know you back then, but I feel like you don't give off brat energy.
Thank you.
Maybe sassy Brie energy, but... No,
okay, what's also really interesting is probably until middle of my freshman year of college was wild. I cracked into a whole new person.
Breezy emerged.
Breezy emerged. That's really what it was, is because I think I was so shy in high school. Like I would be outgoing and I would be myself around family and around friends, but even then, like I still don't feel like I was totally comfortable just like letting go and relaxing and like being my full crazy self around around people. Sometimes I was, but most of the times I wasn't. Definitely not at school. The crazy Brie would emerge sometimes, peek through the shadows, but yeah, I was a very shy person.
Interesting.
Until college, and then something clicked, and I was like, I don't give a crap what people think about me. I'm just gonna.
It was Southern California.
It was Southern California, yeah. Or I just roomed with crazy people.
Just kidding. We'll never know.
You'll never know. But yeah, I also think my brothers, as I grew up, they got crazier too with their personalities. Like my brothers are hilarious. Like, you think I'm funny? You think I'm funny? Go talk to my brothers.
Go to Northern California.
I don't think I'm funny, but Actually, yeah, I think I'm pretty hilarious. But
You're kind
my
of funny.
brothers don't. My brothers think I'm the least funny person in my family because of how
Hey.
funny they are.
Haven's family. I think she's hilarious.
Thank
So check yourselves.
Thank you. No, but if we were to rank the 4 siblings, I would definitely be like, not that there is a least funny, but I would be outranked by how funny my brothers are.
Really?
They're hysterical. They make me laugh so hard. We just laugh a lot. But that started coming out as like we grew up, and I think that is part of what like started to bring me out as my shell, and then like college, like being around other crazy people, that just like really cracked it open. But I think, I mean, it started with family. So I don't know if that didn't really answer your question of what it was like growing up with brothers.
Hey, I don't have any more
Wrestling,
questions for you on that
bossing
right now.
people around, going to sports games 24/7 on Saturdays. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Sounds like the time.
Yeah. Who do you think's had a bigger impact on your personality? Your mom or your dad?
My mom,
What parts?
hands down.
Okay.
I think I'm.
Yeah, you and your
I
mom
think
are
I
very
am like my mom to a T.
Interesting.
I don't think I really have. Well, if you're asking me, I feel like I have any qualities of my biological dad. If you ask my mom, she'll probably be like, well, all the bad ones are from him.
Oh, yikes. That's funny.
She's humble.
No, but but Kevin. I was gonna say
Oh
Kev.
yeah,
Kev
I
dog.
feel like I've adopted some of his characteristics. I would say, but I still feel like I'm more like my mom.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like we like carry ourselves the same way. Like I feel like we're very nurturing people.
Yes.
I feel like me and my mom look a lot alike.
You do.
Like I feel like we have very similar.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on the podcast, but there's one moment I was sitting at your guys' dinner table and your mom was talking to us about something that had happened at work, and I like looked up and I was like, I mean, you guys don't sound alike, but I was like, is Hailey talking? This is literally like the way she was telling the story and the way she was reacting to like what had happened to her that day.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the same way Hailey reacts to things, the same way she like vents about things. I was like, this is wild. I've never seen like
get it from her.
Yeah,
get it from her.
so funny.
I don't know. I feel like my dad Kevin. I feel like I have adopted his like smart remarks. Not always in a bad way.
Your
but
dad's
just
funny.
Very like
Dry humor, right?
no, he can be funny, but I feel like I always have a comeback. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's
No, that's
not
what I
even
mean.
like I'm not even like trying to like say something. It just comes out.
Yeah.
And then people are like, that was a good one. Like that was fast. And I'm like, I don't know.
I think in another life you could have been a stand-up comedian. Like as we're doing this podcast, I'm like, Hailey should just quit her job and be a stand-up.
My grandparents literally are like every time I go up to see them in Sugarloaf, they're always like, oh my gosh, like my grandpa and grandma will like laugh. They're like my biggest fans. And it's so funny. And like they're like, you should be a comedian. Guys, I don't think I'm that funny.
You're
which is so wild
so
because
hard.
everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're so funny. I'm like, is it trauma? It's gotta be the trauma. I don't have a lot of trauma, but it just must be like all my suppressed feelings that I just mask. But yeah, apparently I'm hilarious.
I think if we ever get big enough and we go on the road, like it's just gonna be the Hailey
Stand-up
show,
comedy.
and you're gonna do, and I'll just like be on the side cheering you on.
Oh,
you know?
thank you. You can come on.
I'm not stand-up comedian funny.
What about you? What do you feel like?
I feel like I'm a good mix. I think I have my mom's. This is gonna sound like I'm bragging, but like I'm not gonna talk about the bad parts of my parents. So I'm just gonna talk about the good parts of me. There's no bad parts of my parents.
No. Peter and Jen are great.
They're perfect. I think I have my mom's like empathy, and ability to connect with people on like an emotional, like my mom is very empathetic and cares deeply about people. Like she's a kindergarten teacher. She cares so deeply about her students. She cares so deeply about her kids.
Yeah.
So I think I have that part of her, a lot of other parts, but I think that's the main thing that comes out. My dad is a go-getter, and he, it's so interesting because he's a go-getter, but he's also pessimistic. Like, he's a pessimist sometimes, which I'm not. I'm a very, like, it's all gonna, like, work out.
Yeah.
But even though he's a pessimist because he'll get it. Even though he's like, oh, this is not gonna happen. Like, for instance, 4th of July, like, we always sneak into the VIP section.
You sneak in?
Yeah, we sneak into the VIP section. And my dad every year is like, we're not going to get in this year. The security's too tight. Like, there's too many people. Like, it's just not going to happen. But we try every time, and he, like, works his magic, and we get in. But that happens,
what does he
like,
say?
You just walk in.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
You just have to have the confidence to
Yeah.
walk in.
And this year we are going to be VIP, I think, because you have to, like, set up the fireworks to be VIP.
Oh, and you're setting up fireworks?
I think so. I think that's the plan.
Well, a good firework.
Yeah. But I think I have that attitude of my dad of, like, you're just going to try your hardest to get what you want and manifest it. And, like, I don't know. He just, like, whatever he says is going to happen, happens. You know, like, if he sets his mind on something, or if he sets out to do something, he's going to do it. So I think I have the, like, I guess that was a long way of saying I have, like, the ambition of my dad. My dad's going to critique this so bad, and I'm just dreading the text or the comment that he's going to say, like, I don't do this, or, like, you're way better. I don't know. So, Dad, I love you.
Peter.
Peter.
Mr. Havens.
So, yeah, I think I have the stubbornness and ambition of my dad, and I have the empathy of my mom. So, yeah, I think it's a good mix. But it's definitely played into a lot of who I am, and when I see, like, parts of me come out, I'm like, ooh, like, that's from my mom, or, like,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So good.
How do you think the role of your family has changed from when you were in elementary school, high school, like, when you were a kid, to now as a young adult?
That's a good one. I think when I was younger, we were just so, like, not on the go, but we just, like, had a set routine where it was, like, go to school, do homework, blah, blah. I was either at my biological dad's house Saturday or Sunday, depending. It would switch every other week.
Yeah.
And it was, like, a daily cycle of just a repeat of that's just what I did. And I feel like as I got a little bit, I think when I was younger, I was like, okay, I think this guy's really cool, blah, blah. He lets me do whatever I want. This is great, blah, blah. And then I'd go home. Not that my parents didn't let me do whatever I want, but there was structure at my house.
Right.
Compared to when I went over there, it was like a free-for-all. And it was, oh, we want to be the cool, fun house, so we don't have any rules.
Yeah.
So you can just do whatever you want. You want to go somewhere, we'll take you. You want to go shopping, we'll take you. You want to eat anything at 10 a.m., go ahead. Whatever. And so in my mind, I was like, wow, this is great. I can just do whatever I want.
Right.
But, like, I think as I got older and it became more of a, like, oh, I can't go to so-and-so's birthday because I have to go to my biological dad's house, or I have to go visit him, or, like, which sounds terrible, but our relationship wasn't improving as I got older.
Yeah.
So it started to look more as, like, a burden than something that I was excited to do.
Right.
Which sounds terrible, but that's just how I was feeling. And so that became super hard. And I felt like at times he really tried, but then at other times I felt like he just, like, didn't care. So that didn't make me feel any better.
Right.
It just was super interesting. And my mom and him don't get along. They don't talk now to this day, but like growing up from like the time I was born to like 18, like they just have not meshed well. And so that was very interesting. Like my mom has always kept it where like she never used to like say anything about him in front of me when I was younger, until I got older, and then it was just like, we would talk about the situation. But when I was younger, going over to my biological dad's house, like it was a completely different, where it was just like, oh, let's just bash on Tristan. And so like growing up, it's like that didn't help.
No.
And then I remember one time I don't know if I was in high school or I had already graduated, but I went over for some event, and I remember it was some family function, I don't know what it was, but he had said something about my mom regarding like when I was younger, how like, I don't know, it was just rude. It was a rude comment, and I was like sick of it. And I remember I like thought for a split second, I was like, I should just say something. Like I should be like, hey, you're being disrespectful. I think you should stop.
Yeah.
And then I should just go. But in the moment I was like so caught off guard, I just like stayed. And then I remember I drove home like an hour later, and I remember I like called my mom crying. And I was just like, I just don't get how someone can be so blind, because I feel like growing up, it was this like narrative from him and like his family that like my mom sucked. My mom was the worst. My mom did this. My mom did that. My mom's the reason why I can't see you, blah, 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 blah. And like, as you grow up, you start to realize, oh, these are just petty excuses.
Yep.
Like, and I think that's when our maturity level, like I started to be more mature than he was.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know, just in my mind, I'm like, hey, if I am your age and I only see my kid once a week, then I'm going to go to court and I'm going to fight for my kid.
Yeah.
That's just what you do. I don't care if you're broke. I don't care if you don't have a job. You go get a job. You pay for your stuff. Like, it's just what you do. That's if you want to see your kid more. So in my mind, growing up, and like as I got to be an adult, I was like, oh, you just wanted to be a weekend dad, and you were okay with that.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to put in the bare minimum. And so I called my mom, and I was like sobbing, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, like that happened, blah, blah, like don't let it get to you. And I remember I like immediately hung up, and I was like, I'm going to call him. And I called him, and I literally was like sobbing. But I remember being like, I don't appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
And it just was like deflect. Like, oh, well, like you don't understand. Like you were too young. Like you don't get it. Like basically saying that like I was being brainwashed into like
gaslighting you. It sounds
like by my mom. And it's like, bro, I don't know what lens you're looking through, but I'm looking through, like, I've grown up. So, like, at this point, like, you can't, like, say, like, oh, it's like, I don't know. Like, when I was younger, you could say all you wanted to me, and I'd believe it. But then when you grow up, you're like, oh, I don't think that's true. Like, if you can't put in the bare minimum now, there's no way that you were going above and beyond when I was younger. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like super thankful that like I was able to have like my mom and my dad Kevin in order to really just be my support. Starting up the car.
Boom.
And like people
it's not a good sounding car.
People I could talk to and vent to really helped me growing up.
Yeah.
So even though like my family dynamic wasn't normal or like not something like other of my friends had. It was nice to know that, like, I had my parents.
Yeah.
Like, this, like, God still gave me two great, loving parents who love me unconditionally.
Yeah.
And, like, under the circumstances, I still grew up to be what I feel like a great human being.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And your biological dad's not really in your life at all anymore.
No.
But your parents still very much are.
Yeah.
So and you still live with your parents. You're still hanging out with your siblings.
Yeah.
What where do you see them affecting your life now as a 23-year-old?
Wow.
It's okay, you can cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
I know.
I hate crying.
I know. That's why I said it. 'Cause it's a joke.
I'd rather do anything than cry. I feel like transitioning into like adulthood and like living with your family. Like I'm 23, my sister's 20, my brother's 18, and we all still live in the same household. I feel like my parents and I's relationship has kind of switched a little bit to where not that it's like a buddy thing, because my parents will tell you, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, which I get. Like I can still be like, "Oh, Mom, you're my friend," and she's like, "No, I'm your mom." Get it right. I'm like, okay, that's true. But it has been like we're not here to like scold you, or like we can't tell you what to do.
Sure.
We can only recommend what we think would be in your best interest.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, as long as you respect me and respect the rules under my house, then we don't have a problem. But once you disrespect me, then that's when we have an issue. And like there has been a couple of times where like we have butt heads, but that's just because me and my dad like to butt heads sometimes. We're very good at butting heads.
Probably because you're similar.
I think it's because we both, we could be. I think
Partly.
we love each other so much that we just.
You guys are fighting for each other.
We unconditionally love each other so much that we don't want the other one to,
Sure.
be right. But that's fine. But it has been like a how can I support you type of thing, which has been cool, I think. It's not easy being an adult and having a new relationship with your parents.
No.
I mean, that's
It's
what
interesting.
it is.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, because like I haven't lived with my parents full time since 2017. I mean, I would go back and I would live with them for the summer. So I don't feel like I fully moved out until I graduated college, because I still felt like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to stay there for like 3-4 months. During COVID, I was there for a year. So I guess I kind of moved back. So I would say that's when I lived with my parents. But it was a different dynamic because they knew that I wasn't like moving in permanently. So I feel like we kind of shifted from people who had authority in my life, and not that they don't now, they definitely still do. I definitely still like respect them in that way to like, but they also don't, they don't really, this sounds terrible. Like there's no leverage. Like I'm not living under their roof. So they can't tell me like, hey, you need to make your bed every day, or you need to clean the toilet like this many times a week. So in that way it's different because I'm not under their house. And so I feel like and even in college, even before this, like we started the transition to being friends. Because in high school, they definitely do have this, like, I'm your parent. I know what's better for you or best for you. And I was a good kid, so I listened most of the time. There were a few times I did not listen, didn't work out well for me. But then now it's like, okay, these people are my parents. They're also my friends. And it's fun because I get to like be there for them, and they're there for me. Like my parents are the first people I call. Like my dad has a joke, like I think once or twice a year I'll call my dad sobbing, and he's like, "Are you hurt? Are you kidnapped? Are you in the back of a trunk?" Like his first thought is like, she's in the back of the trunk. Like, so we had like, he's like, I need a code word or something for you so that I know that you're okay, because when I cry, like I can't get like
any
words out. Yeah. So my dad and my mom, depending on the situation, when I got my laptops stolen in college, I called my dad crying, thought I was in the back of the trunk. I was like, "No, Dad, my laptop that you just bought me got stolen." So we have this cool relationship of like, my parents are like two of my closest friends in my life. And even though they're far away, I know I can always call them, and they'll call me. And so it's an interesting, like, and I get to ask them for advice. Like they're like older friends. I mean, parents that, you know, like when I was dating, I got to ask my dad, like, what do you think of this guy? Like, what's your advice on him? And I would ask my mom, like, you know, should I do this? Like, I got to ask them advice. And sometimes I'm like, Mom, you just got to think of this as like, I'm your friend, I'm not your daughter. And then she's like, no, you're my daughter. So
like, dang it.
I'm like, dang. So there is still that, like, yeah, I'm your mom. So
Yeah.
but it's really fun moving from the teenage relationship where you're I did not bicker with my parents very much, but now I
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times.
I feel so bad for my parents. Growing up, I gave my parents a run for their money. I'll admit that.
Poor Tris.
Poor Tris.
Sorry, Tris.
Oh, yeah.
She's here now. She's great.
Yeah, my parents...
Not that you weren't before.
Not that they didn't like me, but they definitely like me better now, I think.
Oh, I think so.
My dad's over there shaking his head. He just turned the laptop off.
No, yeah. So it's fun to have that role of, I don't know, closeness with parents. And then my brothers now... You know what's so crazy is, so Chris is 22. He just turned 22. And sometimes I'll look at him and I'd be like, how'd you get so wise? Like, he just got baptized a few months ago. And I was like crying watching the video because I didn't get to go. But I was like, it's so cool to like look at your brothers and just be so proud of them.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like,
it's wild to look at your siblings and to be like, you used to be so little.
Like when I took your brother Nathan's senior photos, you were like, he's an adult. What?
Yeah, he did not look. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
like,
really cool though.
It's wild.
I'm just excited. I wonder what it's gonna be like when we're all in our 20s, or like even when we all have kids.
Yeah,
I'm
to
just
be
like,
in that same like chapter of life as
your
siblings.
Because I think my youngest brother is still in high school, so there is that like separation of like, I can connect to you, but then you also don't know this. I don't really know like what's going on 100% of the time in your life, and you're still with parents, blah, 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 blah. So it's just really exciting to think about, okay, when we're all 22, or like the youngest one's 22, like what's that going to be like? Like, are we just going to travel the world together? That's my dream.
Wild.
Anyways, that was, hey, this is perfect timing.
Train stop.
We're at the train stop, so we get to ask the question of the week that was submitted by...
No, this is our train stop question.
This is our train stop question, yeah. Our train stop question.
Yeah.
From Audrey Propernick.
Audrey Propernick.
Shout out to Audrey. Hey! Exclamation mark in all caps. What's the best advice for someone who is entering adult life, transitioning?
Oh, man.
Probably because Audrey is entering adult life soon.
Yeah, she's transitioning from high school to college.
Ooh.
Love that gal.
The best advice... I think the best advice I would have wanted to hear is don't worry what other people think about you. I was so concerned about, like, I have to go to 4-year college, otherwise these people are going to think this about me. I have to be in this leadership role because then that means that these people think badly of me. Mm-hmm. So I think just really leaning into, like, hey, who has God created you to be? What gifts and talents and strengths and passions has he given you, and just leaning into those, like lean into your gifts, passions, and strengths, and not what other people say.
No, that was a good one. I was gonna say like something along the same lines too, of just because somebody's path doesn't look the same as yours doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. I feel like growing up, it was very hard for me, you know, I feel like as you like graduate high school and enter into college, and then even like graduating college, like it's just this area of like, oh, this person just graduated college, this person has their master's now, this person is married, this person has a baby, this person has a family, and you're just there like, wait, what is going on? So I'd say just focus on the road, the path that God has you on, and to really, at least for me, I've realized looking back, and like in the moment, like you just have to have faith in God, and whatever path he has you on is what the path he wants you on, and that you just need to stop stressing and to just let everything flow.
Let go and let God, like
let
you
go
said.
and let God.
It's good advice.
What?
Good advice. I think that slam is a sign that we are leaving the train stop.
Goodbye, train stop.
And we're also entering the end of our episode today. It's been a fun time talking about family.
It has. This is not the end.
No.
This is just a brief little episode.
Brief episode. But now we're going to talk about our POVs.
Oh,
Hailey,
yeah.
do you have a POV ready? I wrote mine down.
I do. I wrote mine down
you
too.
Did? Okay.
I did. Because I always forget mine.
I know. Okay, I've been
goodness.
playing a lot of Game Pigeon. Okay, this is my POV number 33.
Number 33.
I've been playing a lot of Game Pigeon games on my phone. Do you know what Game Pigeon is?
Yeah, but you don't send me any Game Pigeon games.
I just didn't think that you would have the time to play with me. You're such a busy
You
person.
don't think I have the time for you?
No.
I can make some time to play some 8-ball.
I don't play 8-ball.
Basketball?
Cup pong,
Oh, cup pong, yeah.
Battleship, golf.
You should play 8-ball.
I'm not good at 8-ball, but yeah, okay. Anyways, my
Text me.
POV is that Game Pigeon games are equivalent to Club Penguin.
No.
Yeah. They're the same like mini games. Or Webkins. Not Webkins, the actual game, but the games on Webkins.
I didn't really play... I don't think I played Webkins a lot growing up because I don't think I ever bought a Webkin, so I never had a code.
They were expensive.
I think I had one and then
It
forgot
died.
my login or it died. And then just...
You killed your
You know what I was really into? Animal Jam.
I don't know what
Or
the heck that
Moshi
is.
Monsters? Did anybody? I know Ashley's over here watching me. Ashley, my sister, and me used to take turns on our laptop. Not laptop.
Is it a
it was a
website
Mac.
game?
It was an old. Yeah, they just got rid of it a couple of years ago. It was devastating. But we used to set a timer. My mom would have to set a timer because we would bicker back and forth, and my mom would be like, "Okay, you get 30 minutes on Moshi Monster."
Would you watch your sister play and then
Sometimes,
you would switch?
and then other times she was like, "Stop looking over me," and then I'd be like,
Ashley.
"Oh gosh," and then I'd do the same
Calm
thing to her.
down.
She's like, "Let me see your house," and I'm like, "No, get away." But I remember me and my best friend Jackie, we used to play. She was hardcore with Animal Jam. Jackie was
I don't
hardcore
even know
Animal
what that
Jam
is
fan.
either. And you didn't play Webkins? That blows my mind.
No, not that much. Club Penguin, I didn't play Club Penguin a lot either.
I
think
didn't
played
either,
Club
but
Penguin
I
more
watched my
than-
brothers play it a lot.
Yeah, Animal Jam and Moshi Monsters. That was my jam.
Well, okay, your turn.
Guys,
POV number 33.
33.
32?
POV number
I
33.
don't know.
32 is
33.
right.
I don't know. Just go with it.
We'll figure
33.
it out. Okay. I don't know how reliable this source is.
Oh man, she's bringing in all the facts today.
So if you want to fact check me, go ahead. But if I'm wrong, don't put it in the comments. Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it.
Just kidding.
I'll deny it. Okay, this blew my mind for at least a good 15 minutes last night. So the number on sunscreen,
Yeah.
okay?
SPF.
SPF, okay? The 15,
The 50.
20, 30, 50, 70, 100. Isn't the protection level
Okay.
from the sun. It's how long your sunscreen lasts before you need to reapply.
What?
Bro, like I said, I don't know how reliable this source is, but I literally was told this, and it blew my mind.
So the sunscreen that I put on the morning that I wear all day only lasts 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think it really, like, if it's like an everyday thing, I think any sunscreen is better than nothing.
But it's only
But
lasting
I think
50,
it's
is
like
it even
if you're
worth
like
it?
constantly out in the sun, like say if you're tanning or like you're at the river or the beach or the pool, that's when you're like, oh, I'm just going to put on one thing of 50 and wait like 3 hours and then put it on again. And you're like, oh, it's fine.
Interesting. Because I heard also that anything above SPF 50 doesn't really work. Like, it's SPF 50 is really the highest. Everything else is lying. You think that's true?
I hope not.
I hope not either, because I use SPF 90 sometimes.
Yeah, I use like the sport, whatever one that's like 75 or like 100 almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what because I'm pretty white.
I'm super
Me and my
white.
mom, we burn. We don't tan.
Oh, yeah.
My sister, my dad, and my brother,
Lucky butts.
good Lord, they're Canadian Scottish genetics. Apparently, I don't know how. My grandma Barbara was so
Barb.
tan. She did not look Canadian. I'll tell you that.
Whoa.
She looked like
Are
she
Canadians
should be Spanish of some sort. I don't know. I've never met a super tan Canadian, but she was a very tan Canadian.
Shawn Mendes and Justin Bieber are pretty white.
I know.
So that's
I guess
out.
it's just genetics. Maybe there might be something else mixed in there. I'll have to ask my dad.
Wild.
See if he knows everything he is.
No.
Okay.
Wild. Those
So
are
good.
our POVs, number 33.
I hope they blew your brain
That
as
one
much
did.
as... Yeah.
Anyways, let us know in the comments what you thought.
Yeah. So good. Do you agree with my statement? I don't know.
Is Pepsi and Coke the same?
Is Pepsi and Coke the
What
same?
the heck is happening outside?
Please stop.
I think they can hear us. Okay. Bye, everybody. We'll see you
Bye.
next week.
POV with Hailey and Brie.
We at the motel.
Hotel.
Holiday
Inn. We gotta go to a Pitbull concert. I love that guy.
I don't even know who Pitbull is.
You're singing his song.
Okay.
The disrespect to Pitbull. I literally can't.